The year is 216 BC. A storm is gathering over the Italian peninsula. Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general who has become Rome's greatest nightmare, has done the impossible. He has crossed the treacherous Alps with his army and elephants and is now carving a path of destruction through the heart of the Republic. He has already delivered 2 stinging defeats to the Romans at Trebia and Lake Trasimene, humiliating the proud legions and shaking the city to its core. Rome is furious. The Senate, casting aside its usual caution, decides this has gone on for long enough. It's time to put an end to the Carthaginian menace once and for all. They gather the largest single army Rome has ever put into the field. 8 massive legions, supplemented by allied troops, a force of nearly 86,000 men. This isn't just an army, it's an instrument of annihilation. Its singular purpose: find Hannibal, engage him, and crush him with overwhelming numbers. The consuls in charge, Lucius Aemilius Paulus and the aggressive Gaius Terentius Varro, lead this colossal force south, confident that sheer power will guarantee victory. On a hot, dusty plain near the village of Cannae, they finally find their quarry. The fate of the Western world is about to be decided. On the morning of the battle, the 2 armies face each other across the Aufidus River. The Roman consul Varro, whose turn it is to command, sees Hannibal's much smaller army of around 50,000 and feels a surge of confidence. He has the numbers, the power, the might of Rome behind him. His plan is simple, brutal, and very Roman. Concentrate his infantry into a dense, deep formation, a massive battering ram of men designed to punch straight through the enemy's center and shatter their line. He packs his legions so tightly that they form a massive, powerful rectangle, sacrificing maneuverability for raw, overwhelming force. To Varro and his officers, the outcome is a foregone conclusion. But on the other side of the field, Hannibal Barca is not preparing for a conventional battle. He's preparing a masterpiece of military deception. He looks at the Roman juggernaut and sees not its strength, but its weakness, its predictability. He arranges his own forces in a way that seems, to the Romans, incredibly foolish. In the center, directly opposite the strongest point of the Roman line, he places his weakest and least reliable troops, the recently recruited Gauls and Iberians. He arranges them not in a solid line, but in a thin, shallow crescent that bulges forward toward the Romans. It looks like a fragile shield, destined to break at the first impact. This is the bait. While his center looks weak, Hannibal positions his true strength on the wings. Here, he places his most disciplined, battle-hardened veterans, the Libyan and African heavy infantry. They are arrayed in deep columns, facing forward, almost hidden in plain sight on the flanks of the crescent. Their role for now is simple: wait. On the far flanks, Hannibal's superior cavalry, led by Hasdrubal on the left and Mahabal on the right, prepare to engage their weaker Roman and allied counterparts. The stage is set. Hannibal has not just drawn up a battle line, he has designed an elaborate trap, and the overconfident Romans are about to walk right into it. The horns sound, and the ground trembles as nearly 140,000 men begin the grim work of war. The massive Roman rectangle surges forward, a tidal wave of shields and spears. As they close the distance, the Roman legionaries clash with Hannibal's center, the thin crescent of Gauls and Iberians. Just as Varro predicted, the sheer weight of the Roman advance begins to push them back. The center of Hannibal's line buckles under the immense pressure. The crescent, which once bulged outward, now begins to bend inward, forming a deep U-shape. From the Roman perspective, this is exactly what they wanted. Victory seems within their grasp. The center is collapsing. The soldiers yell in triumph, pressing their advantage, pushing deeper and deeper into the bulge. They feel the enemy line giving way and surge forward, eager to break through and complete the rout. But what they perceive as a retreat is actually a perfectly executed maneuver. Hannibal is personally commanding his center, riding along the line, encouraging his men to give ground slowly, to absorb the Roman punch without breaking. He is trading space for time, drawing the Roman legions further and further into his trap. The Roman formation, so deep and powerful at the start, becomes even more compressed as it funks into the pocket, soldiers pushing from behind, blind to the bigger picture. They think they are winning, but they are being led to their own destruction. Now, the genius of Hannibal's plan reveals itself in a terrifying display of tactical brilliance. The Roman legions, having pushed so deep into the Carthaginian center, have unknowingly overextended themselves. Their flanks, which were once protected, are now completely exposed. This is the moment Hannibal has been waiting for. He gives the signal. On both sides of the pocket, his elite African infantry, who have been standing patiently this entire time, execute a flawless maneuver. They pivot inward, turning 90 degrees, and slam into the vulnerable sides of the Roman legions. Suddenly, the Romans are not just fighting enemies to their front, but also to their left and right. The advance grinds to a halt as shock and confusion rip through the Roman ranks. But the trap is not yet complete. While the infantry battle was raging, a decisive action had already taken place on the wings. Hannibal's superior Carthaginian and Spanish cavalry, led by Hasdrubal, had quickly shattered the Roman cavalry on one flank. Instead of pursuing the fleeing enemy, Hasdrubal executed another brilliant maneuver. He led his horsemen on a wide arc around the entire battlefield, coming up behind the allied cavalry on the other flank, who were engaged with Hannibal's Numidian horsemen. Attacked from two sides, this final Roman cavalry force broke and fled. Now, the Roman legions are completely cut off from support. With the enemy infantry attacking their front and both flanks, Hasdrubal and Hannibal lead the victorious Carthaginian cavalry to complete the circle. They charge into the rear of the packed Roman formation. The trap is sprung. The largest army Rome had ever assembled is now completely and utterly surrounded. There is no escape. The hunter has become the hunted, enclosed in a ring of Carthaginian steel on all sides. What followed was not a battle, but a slaughter. The encircled Roman legions were packed together so tightly that many men could not even lift their arms to swing their swords or properly use their shields. They were a helpless, panicked mass of humanity, compressed into a killing field. The Carthaginians simply worked their way inward, methodically cutting them down. The screams of the dying filled the air as the dust on the plains of Cannae turned red with Roman blood. 4 hours, the grim work continued under the hot Italian sun. There was no room to maneuver, no hope of breaking out, and no mercy given. By the end of the day, the scale of the Roman disaster was almost unimaginable. Out of an army of nearly 86,000 men, it's estimated that as many as 70,000 were killed or captured. Among the dead was the consul Aemilius Paulus, along with 80 senators and countless other Roman aristocrats who had been serving as officers. It was the single bloodiest day in the history of the Roman Republic. In contrast, Hannibal's losses were minimal, perhaps around 6,000 men, mostly the Gauls and Iberians who had formed the sacrificial center. Hannibal had achieved the impossible. He had faced an army that vastly outnumbered his own and had not just defeated it, but annihilated it. The Battle of Cannae became the textbook example of a double envelopment, or pincer movement. It remains a masterclass in military tactics, studied by generals and military strategists for over 2 millennia. It was the perfect battle, a symphony of deception, timing, and brutal efficiency. And for Rome, it was a day of such profound horror and loss that it would be seared into their collective memory forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient military history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories of epic battles and legendary commanders. See you next time.